The little girl stood silently at the jewelry counter, her clothes worn and her hands shaking, when the clerk snapped, "Girl, drop that ring now!" She lowered her eyes, then slowly opened her palm to reveal something no one expected. The chatter died instantly and the entire store froze in stunned silence. Subscribe to the channel, leave your like, and comment where in the world you're watching from, because now I'm going to tell you everything. The air inside Perkins Sons Jewelers was warm and still, smelling of polish and quiet money. Gentle piano music floated from hidden speakers. Then a voice, sharp as broken glass, cut through the calm. "Girl, drop that ring right now." Every person in the store froze. Two men in fine blue suits, Arthur Clark and Ben Evans, turned from a display of watches. The other clerk stopped wrapping a gift. All eyes went to the girl standing by the main glass case. She was just a child, maybe 13 years old. She wore a thin, faded orange dress that was too big for her. The fabric was worn at the sleeves. Her dark hair was neat, but she shivered. Though not just from the cold Pittsburgh afternoon outside. Her large eyes were fixed on the floor. Eleanor Perkins stood behind the counter, her knuckles white where she gripped the edge. She had been watching the girl from the moment she slipped in. The old dress, the way she moved like a shadow straight to the most expensive display. It all spelled trouble to Eleanor. Her heart had hammered, asterisk thief, 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 asterisk, until she couldn't stay silent. "I said now." Eleanor's voice was too loud for the polished room. The girl, Lily, flinched. Slowly, as if her arms were heavy, she raised her right hand. It trembled violently. She uncurled her small fingers. There was no diamond ring. Resting in her damp palm was a tiny, bent photograph, its colors faded with time. A long, painful silence filled the store. Eleanor felt the heat rush to her face. Her perfect understanding of the world cracked. "What is that?" Eleanor asked, her voice much quieter. Lily did not look up. "It's my mom," she whispered. The words seemed to hurt her throat. "She's gone. I wanted to see the ring, the one she loved, in the picture." Arthur Clark took a small step forward. He was a big man, but his face had gone soft with a sudden familiar pain. "Can I see the picture?" he asked, his voice gentle. Lily hesitated, then handed it to him. Arthur held it carefully. Ben Evans moved to look over his shoulder. The photo showed a beautiful, smiling woman with kind eyes. She was holding up her left hand, showing off a brilliant diamond ring. It was unmistakably the same ring now lying on the velvet inside the locked case. "That's the solitaire from case 4, the other clerk mumbled, stunned. "When did you see your mother last?" Ben asked Lily. He kept his tone even, like he was talking to a scared animal. 3 years ago, Lily's whisper was almost lost in the music. "She went to work one morning. She never came home." Eleanor's hand went to the pearls at her neck. She felt sick. She saw everything again. But now she saw a sad child, not a thief. She saw the dress, not as a sign of poverty, but as something that might have been a mother's. The shame was a physical weight on her chest. Eleanor started, but no other words came. "I'm sorry," asterisk felt too small, stuck deep inside her. Arthur handed the photograph back to Lily. His own hand was not quite steady. "What's your name?" "Lily Chen." "Do you have family here, Lily?" "My Aunt Maureen. She takes care of me now." Arthur nodded. He looked at Eleanor, whose eyes were wide with distress, and then at Ben, who gave him a grave, knowing look. This was not just a sad moment. It was a story with a missing first chapter. "I think we should call your aunt," Arthur said, "to let her know you're okay." Lily just nodded, staring at the photo in her hand again, as if the woman in it might speak. Ben took out a small notebook from his inside pocket. He didn't write anything yet, just held it. "That ring is very special. If it belonged to your mother, there might be a way to find out more about it. Stores keep records." Eleanor found her voice, thin and strained. "We do. We have records going back decades." The words were an offering, the only one she had. Lily finally looked up, first at Ben, then at Eleanor. A tiny flicker of something, not hope, but maybe curiosity, lit in her dark eyes. "You could find where it came from?" "We could try," Arthur said. The promise came out before he could think about it. He saw his own sister's face for a moment, lost and gone. He pushed the thought away. "We can try." The store was closing. The other customer left with a last pitying glance. The clock on the wall showed 5 minutes past 5. Lily stood by the door, waiting for her aunt, the photograph clutched tight. Eleanor polished the same spot on the glass case over and over. Arthur and Ben waited in silence, both knowing their quiet afternoon had ended. Something had begun. The heavy feeling did not leave Arthur Clarke all evening. He sat in his quiet study in Shadyside, the television on but unwatched. The girl's face, Lily's face, kept appearing in his mind. It was the way she had looked at the floor, as if hoping it would swallow her whole. It was a look of pure, quiet hurt. He picked up the phone 3 times before he finally dialed the number for Perkins Sons, which he found online. A woman answered. "Perkins and Sons, this is Eleanor speaking." "Miss Perkins, this is Arthur Clarke. I was in your store this afternoon. With the young girl." A long pause filled the line. "Yes, Mr. Clarke, I remember." Her voice was tight. "I can't stop thinking about her," Arthur said simply. "I want to help. I need to find her." Eleanor let out a short breath, almost a sigh. "I have been thinking the same thing. I need to make this right. I have her aunt's first name and the neighborhood from when we called. Bloomfield, that is all." "It's a start," Arthur said. "Can you meet me tomorrow morning? We can try to find them." "Yes," Eleanor said, the word quick and definite. "I will meet you, 9 o'clock." The next morning was gray and cold. Arthur waited outside a coffee shop on Liberty Avenue in Bloomfield. Eleanor Perkins arrived exactly on time, her blonde hair in its perfect bun, her coat buttoned to the top. She looked like she had not slept. "Thank you for coming," Arthur said. "I had to," Eleanor replied. She did not meet his eyes. "I have been going over the store's security footage. She never touched the case. I was completely wrong." Before Arthur could answer, a familiar voice called out, "Clarke, I had a feeling I'd find you here." Ben Evans walked up, his hands tucked in the pockets of a warm jacket. He gave a small, apologetic smile. "I hope you don't mind. I'm a journalist. This kind of story, it sticks with you. I want to help, if I can." Arthur nodded. He was not surprised. Ben had that look in his eye yesterday, the look of someone who saw a puzzle. "We're trying to find her house. All we know is her aunt's name is Maureen and they live in the Bloomfield." Ben pulled out his small notebook. "Maureen. And the girl is Lily Chen. Let's think. If the aunt works, she might be in the phone book. Or we can ask at local places. A girl her age probably goes to school around here." They decided to split up. Ben went to the nearest library to look at city directories. Arthur and Eleanor began walking the residential streets, asking mail carriers and people outside if they knew a Maureen with a niece named Lily. After almost 2 hours, an older woman walking a small dog pointed them to a 3-story brick apartment building on a side street. "Apartment 2B, she said. "Maureen works 2 jobs, poor thing. The girl is very quiet." They stood outside the building's main door. Eleanor straightened her coat. "What do we say?" she asked, her confidence from the store gone. "We tell the truth," Arthur said. He pressed the buzzer for 2B. A tired woman's voice came through the speaker. "Yes? Maureen? My name is Arthur Clarke. This is Eleanor Perkins. We met your niece, Lily, yesterday. We'd like to talk to you, if that's okay." There was a long silence, then a loud buzz as the door unlocked. The apartment was small and warm, filled with the smell of soup. Maureen was a kind-faced woman with worry lines around her eyes. She ushered them into a living room where Lily sat on the couch, wearing a simple sweatshirt and jeans. Lily looked at them, then down at her hands. "What's this about?" Maureen asked, sitting next to Lily. "Lily told me what happened at the jewelry store. She was very upset." Arthur sat in an offered chair. Eleanor remained standing, her posture stiff. "First, Miss Perkins and I want to apologize for what happened. It was a mistake, a bad one." Eleanor finally spoke, her voice formal but sincere. "I am deeply sorry, Lily. I accused you without cause." Lily gave a small nod, accepting it but not looking up. "The reason we're here," Arthur continued, "is because of the photograph. Lily said her mother is gone. We want to help find out about her." Maureen's shoulders slumped. "It's been 3 years. Sarah, my sister, she just disappeared. I reported it, of course, but we didn't have money for a detective or to travel in search. The police said adults leave sometimes. They stopped looking after a few months." "The ring in the picture," Ben said. He had arrived quietly and now stood in the doorway, listening. "It's a specific piece. Miss Perkins can look through her store's old records. I can research through newspaper archives and public records. Arthur has contacts. Maybe we can find where it came from. It's a place to start." Maureen looked at the three strangers, her eyes filling with tears of exhaustion and a faint, fragile hope. "Why would you do this? You don't know us." Arthur leaned forward. "Because your niece deserved better yesterday, and because everyone deserves to know what happened to someone they love." He did not mention the memory of his own sister. He did not need to. He looked at Lily. "Lily, would it be okay with you if we tried? We can't promise anything, but we can try." Lily was silent for a long time, looking at her aunt, then at the floor. She thought about the photograph, her mother's smile, the empty space where she should be. She gave one small, decisive nod. "Okay," she whispered. Eleanor let out a breath she didn't know she was holding. "I will go to the store archives today," she said, her mind already shifting to the task. Ben smiled. "I'll start digging." Arthur looked at Maureen. "We'll be in touch. We'll find something." He didn't know if it was a promise he could keep, but he knew he had to try. The quiet girl on the couch and the ghost of a woman in a faded photo were now their shared responsibility. The basement of Perkins' Sons was cold and smelled of old paper and dust. A single bright lamp shone on the large leather-bound book open on the wooden table. Eleanor Perkins turned a page carefully, her finger tracing down a column of handwritten entries. She was looking for sales of solitaire diamond rings from about 20 to 25 years ago. Her eyes ached from squinting in the dim light. She had been down here for hours. She turned another page, and then she saw it. An entry dated June 12, 1998. The description matched Lily's ring exactly. The notation read, "One brilliant cut solitaire, platinum setting." And in the customer column, written in her father-in-law's neat script, "Hargrove Margaret, Sewickley." Eleanor sat back, her heart beating fast. Asterisk Hargrove asterisk. She knew that name. Everyone in Pittsburgh who knew about old money knew the Hargrove name. They were a family of immense private wealth. She carefully copied the information into her own notebook. Upstairs in his office, Arthur Clark was on the phone. He had called 3 different business associates before one, a real estate lawyer named David, knew something. "The Hargroves?" David said on the phone. "Sure, based in Sewickley. Family fortune from industrial manufacturing. Very old school, very private. They don't put their name on buildings. They own the buildings other names go on. Why do you ask?" "I might have a client interested in some family history," Arthur said, keeping his voice casual. "What about the family itself?" "The patriarch, William, died some years back. His wife Margaret is still around, I hear. They had a son and a daughter, I believe. The son died in a boating accident. It was a whole tragedy. The daughter, I don't remember. She left the picture a long time ago. The business is run by a nephew now, I think. Philip. Keep your head down if you deal with them, Arthur. They don't like attention. Thanks, David." Arthur hung up and wrote, "Hargrove Sewickley daughter left," in his leather notebook. At the Carnegie Library in Oakland, Ben Evans scrolled through microfilm of old society pages from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. He was looking for the name Hargrove. He found several mentions of charity galas and board appointments. Then, in a society column from the fall of 2002, he found a short, curious paragraph. "The upcoming wedding of Sarah Hargrove, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. William Hargrove of Sewickley, to Mr. Thomas Bradford of Philadelphia, has been called off indefinitely. Sources close to the family indicate Miss Hargrove has departed the area. The Hargroves have declined to comment." Ben made a copy of the article. Asterisk, Sarah Hargrove asterisk. He kept looking but found nothing more. It was as if she vanished from public record after that. They met that evening in a quiet booth at a diner on Forbes Avenue. Eleanor slid her notebook across the table. "I found the sale. June 12, 1998. Sold to Margaret Hargrove of Sewickley." Arthur nodded. "I heard the same name today. The Hargroves are a wealthy private family from Sewickley. They had a daughter who left a long time ago." Ben placed the copied article on the table. Her name was Sarah Hargrove. Her wedding was called off in 2002, and she departed the area. The family stopped talking about her. A heavy silence fell over the table. The pieces clicked together with an almost audible sound. Lily's mother is Sarah Chen, Eleanor said slowly. But her maiden name, it could have been Hargrove. Sarah Hargrove ran away, Ben said, tapping the article, and Sarah Chen disappeared. They're the same person. Arthur stared at the names in his notebook. A rich man's daughter and a missing mother living in a small apartment in Bloomfield. Lily has no idea, he said quietly. She thinks her mom worked in a pharmacy. She doesn't know she comes from all that. What do we do now? Eleanor asked. Her usual certainty was gone, replaced by a nervous energy. Do we tell Lily and her aunt? Not yet, Arthur said. We need to know more. We need to understand why she left and what happened. If we show up with just this, it will only create more questions and more hurt. Ben agreed. We have to talk to the source. We have to talk to the Hargroves. Arthur closed his notebook. Then that's the next step. We need to go to Sewickley and speak with Margaret Hargrove. We need to tell her she has a granddaughter. He looked at the others. We'll go tomorrow. The waitress came to refill their coffees, oblivious to the quiet revolution happening in the booth. The search for a missing woman had just found a name, and the name had opened a door into a world none of them knew, a world that might hold the answers Lily needed. The iron gates of the Hargrove estate opened slowly after Arthur gave their names through the intercom. A long, winding driveway led to a massive stone house that looked more like a museum than a home. Eleanor Perkins smoothed her skirt in the passenger seat. Ben Evans leaned forward from the back, taking in the perfect, silent lawns. Remember, Arthur said, parking the car, we are here to inform, not to accuse. We just need to know what they know. A man in a dark suit opened the heavy front door before they could knock. He led them through a marble hallway into a formal sitting room. The room was filled with antique furniture and portraits of serious-looking people. A fire crackled in a large fireplace. After a few minutes, an older woman entered. She moved with a stiff, proud posture. Her silver hair was styled perfectly. She wore a simple but expensive-looking dress. This was Margaret Hargrove. She did not smile. You asked to speak with me, she said, her voice cool and clear. Regarding a private family matter. I do not know you. Explain yourselves. Arthur stepped forward slightly. Mrs. Hargrove, my name is Arthur Clark. This is Eleanor Perkins and Ben Evans. We are here about your daughter, Sarah. Margaret Hargrove's expression did not change, but her eyes became like ice. I have no daughter by that name. The records from Perkins' Sons Jewelers show you purchased a specific diamond ring in June of 1998, Eleanor said, her professional tone returning. We have seen a photograph of a woman wearing that ring. She said it was her mother. Her name is Lily Chen. For the first time, a crack appeared in Margaret's composure. Her hand tightened on the back of a chair. Chen? Lily is 13 years old, Ben said gently. Her mother, Sarah Chen, disappeared 3 years ago. Lily has been living with her aunt. We are trying to find out what happened to Sarah. We believe Sarah Chen was once Sarah Hargrove. Margaret was silent for a long time. She walked slowly to a window and looked out at the gardens. When she spoke, her voice was quieter. Sit down. They sat on the edge of the stiff sofas. Margaret remained standing. Sarah was my only daughter, she began. She was willful, full of ideas we did not share. She was engaged to a suitable young man from a good family. 2 months before the wedding, she told us she would not go through with it. She had met someone else, a man named Leo Chen. He was a musician. He had no family, no prospects. She said the words as if describing a disease. We told her she had a choice, Margaret continued, turning to face them. Her face was a mask of remembered anger and pain. She could stay with her family, fulfill her duties, and live the life she was born to. Or she could choose him and leave. If she left, she would leave everything. Her home, her inheritance, her name. What did she do? Arthur asked. She left. The words were flat. She took one small bag. I gave her the diamond ring as she walked out the door. A sentimental foolishness on my part. I told her it was all she would get from me. My husband was furious. We decided as a family that she was dead to us. We never spoke of her again. We did not look for her. The room was so quiet they could hear the clock ticking on the mantel. Did you know she had a child? Eleanor asked. A daughter named Lily? Margaret Hargrove closed her eyes for a moment. When she opened them, they shone with unshed tears. No, I did not know. We had no contact after that day. None. If I had known about a child... Her voice trailed off. She shook her head. It does not matter now. She is gone. You said she disappeared? Yes, Ben said. 3 years ago. She went to work and never came home. Lily has been waiting ever since. Margaret nodded slowly, absorbing the information. The news of a granddaughter seemed to make her older, smaller. I cannot help you find her. I do not know where she went or who she became. The woman you describe, this Sarah Chen, is a stranger to me. The girl I raised died the day she walked out that door. Arthur stood up. Lily is not a stranger. She is your blood. She is living in a small apartment wondering why her mother left her. She has nothing but a photograph of a ring. For a flash, something like regret crossed Margaret's face. Then it was gone, replaced by the old sternness. You have told me what you came to say. Now I will tell you something. Leave this alone. The past is buried. Digging it up will not bring Sarah back. It will only cause more pain. For you and for the child. She walked to the fireplace and pulled a cord. The butler appeared instantly at the door. Show them out, Margaret said. She did not look at them again. They were led back through the silent house and out into the cold afternoon. The grand front door closed behind them with a solid, final sound. As they drove back down the long driveway, Ben let out a low whistle. She knew more than she said. About Sarah's life after she left? No. But about the family's feelings? Absolutely. Eleanor looked back at the shrinking mansion. She has a granddaughter and her only concern was for us to stop looking. Why? Arthur gripped the steering wheel. Because there's something she doesn't want found, and we just told her we're looking for it. The meeting was over, but the search had just become much more complicated. Their car had just reached the end of the long Hargrove driveway when a dark sedan pulled out from behind a row of tall hedges, blocking their way. Arthur had to brake hard. The driver's door of the sedan opened. A man in his late 30s got out. He wore an expensive overcoat and had a sharp, unfriendly face. He walked to Arthur's window. Arthur rolled it down. Can we help you? Arthur asked. You can help by turning around and forgetting this road exists, the man said. His voice was smooth but cold. I'm Philip Hargrove. My aunt told me you were here. We were just leaving, Mr. Hargrove, Ben said from the back seat. Good. Keep going. All the way back to Pittsburgh. Philip leaned down, looking at each of them in turn. My family's history is not a public book for you to read. Sarah made her choice. She is gone. Stirring up old pain helps no one, especially not some child you say is hers. Her name is Lily, Eleanor said, her voice firm despite her nervousness. I don't care, Philip said flatly. What I care about is our name, our business. We have contracts, a reputation. Stories about runaway daughters and secret grandchildren are messy. They are bad for stability. Stop digging. This is your only warning. He stood up straight, tapped the roof of their car twice, and walked back to his sedan. He moved it just enough for them to pass. No one spoke until they were back on the main road toward the city. He was not happy, Ben finally said. He was scared, Arthur corrected, his hands tight on the wheel. People protecting a reputation give polite lawyers letters. That was a threat. Later that night, Ben was in his apartment in the South Side. He was typing up notes from the day on his laptop when the building's fire alarm suddenly blared. He groaned, saved his work, and went out into the hallway with his neighbors. It was a false alarm, someone burning toast. After 10 minutes, they all went back inside. Ben opened his apartment door and stopped. His living room was not how he left it. The cushions on his sofa were tossed. His desk drawer was open. His laptop was gone. No, he whispered. He ran to his desk. The folder with his printed notes on the Hargroves was also gone. His small notebook was missing from his coat pocket. Only his personal files and television remained. He called Arthur immediately. The next morning, Arthur met Ben for coffee. As he walked back to his car in the parking lot, he saw it. His front tire was completely flat. Not just flat. It had a long, clean slash right through the sidewall. Arthur looked around the busy lot. Anyone could have done it. He called a roadside service, then called Eleanor. They all met at Maureen's apartment in Bloomfield. Their faces were serious. My notes are gone, my computer, Ben told them. They took only the research stuff. My tire was cut, Arthur said. A professional job, a warning to stop moving. Maureen put her arm around Lily, who listened with wide, scared eyes. This is too much. It's getting dangerous. I want to know what happened to my mom, Lily said quietly. Everyone looked at her. Her voice was a whisper, but it was strong. He's trying to scare us because he knows something. My mom was scared of someone at the end, I think. She would get quiet when certain things were on the news. Arthur knelt down in front of her. Lily, this man, Philip, is powerful. He can cause trouble. If we keep going, he might try harder to stop us. Are you sure? Lily nodded. She pressed her thumb into her palm, a small, nervous habit. I'm sure. I don't remember much, but I remember she used to sing to me. What did she sing? Ben asked softly, pulling out a new notebook. A lullaby. It was silly. About a blue door. Lily closed her eyes, trying to remember. It had strange words, about a safe place to dream behind a blue door. I always thought it was just a song. Ben wrote down asterisk blue door asterisk and asterisk safe place to dream asterisk. He looked at the others. It might be nothing, but it might be something. A real place she loved, or a place she felt safe. It's more than we had before, Arthur said, standing up. We just have to be smarter now. We watch our backs. We keep looking. The threats had made the mystery real. The search was no longer just about the past. It was about the present and about a man named Philip Hargrove who was very afraid of what they might find. Aunt Maureen brought a cup of tea and sat next to Lily on the couch. Your mom always loved being outside, she said, her voice soft with memory, even as a little girl. When she was sad or thinking hard, she'd go for a walk in the woods. After she came to live with me, she'd save up for months just to rent a car for a weekend. She'd drive out to state parks. She said the trees helped her breathe. Did she ever go to one place more than others? Ben asked. He had his new notebook open. Maybe. She mentioned Ohio a few times, the Hocking Hills area. She said it was peaceful, but a specific place? Maureen shook her head. She never said. The song mentioned a blue door, Lily repeated, her eyes closed in concentration. It went, when the world feels too loud and the shadows start to creep, remember the blue door where the memories sleep, a safe place to dream, a secret to keep. She opened her eyes, looking embarrassed. It's just a kid's song. It's a specific image, Ben said, writing it down word for word. A blue door. It could be a real door, on a cabin or a shed. Arthur had been quiet, thinking. He pulled out his phone. I have access to a real property database through my work, for valuations. If the Hargrove family owned a recreational property, a cabin, a lake house, it might be in the records. Even if they forgot about it, the county wouldn't. Would you be able to search for it? Eleanor asked. With just the words blue door? I can search for properties under the Hargrove Family Trust or their business names in surrounding states, Arthur said, his fingers already moving on his screen. Ohio is close. If they own something old, it might not be in the main family's mind anymore, especially if it was from before Sarah left. They waited while Arthur worked. Lily watched him, a fragile hope in her chest. It felt strange to have adults listening so carefully to a childhood rhyme. Okay, Arthur said after 15 minutes. I have a list. Most are commercial warehouses, office buildings, but here's one. A deeded plot of land with a structure in Vinton County, Ohio, near Lake Hope State Park. The title is under Hargrove Family Holdings. The last property tax payment was automated from a trust fund. No building permits or sales on record for over 40 years. What's the address? Ben asked. It's just a rural route number, but the record says it's a seasonal dwelling, a cabin. Arthur looked up. It's the only residential property they own outside of Pennsylvania. Could that be it? Maureen whispered. There's one way to find out, Ben said. We go look. Eleanor shifted in her chair. After the flat tire and Ben's apartment, Philip is watching. If we all drive to Ohio together, he will know. We don't all have to go, Arthur said. 2 of us. We can say it's a business trip. We'll be quick, in and out. We'll take my car, but I'll get the tire fixed first. I want to go, Lily said suddenly. Everyone looked at her. Honey, it might be nothing, Maureen said. And it's a long drive. It was my mom's song, Lily said. Her voice was still quiet, but it held a new strength. If there is a blue door, I should be the one to see it. Please. Arthur and Ben exchanged a look. "She's right," Ben said. "If there's a connection, she might notice something we wouldn't, a feeling, a memory." "It's a risk," Arthur said, "but keeping her here might not be safer if Philip is having people followed. We all go. We make a day of it. Maureen, you come too. We'll say it's a family outing to the countryside." The plan felt fragile, but it was a plan. The vague words of a lullaby had given them a direction. "We leave early tomorrow," Arthur said. "We'll get there by midday. We look, we see, and we come home." Lily nodded, her hand going to the small locket she wore, a recent gift from her aunt to replace the lost photograph. Inside was a tiny copy of the picture of her mom. For the first time in a long time, she wasn't just waiting. She was going to look for the blue door herself. The drive to Ohio took over 2 hours. Lily stared out the window as the city faded into towns, then into rolling hills and bare winter trees. No one spoke much. Arthur kept checking the rearview mirror. Ben studied the directions on his phone. Eleanor sat very straight, her hands folded in her lap. They turned off the main highway onto smaller roads, then onto a gravel lane that was mostly overgrown. Arthur's car bumped over ruts and branches. "This is it," Arthur said, slowing to a stop. "The coordinates matched the property record. The cabin should be through those trees." They all got out. The air was cold and still. There was no other sound except their feet crunching on frozen leaves. They walked along a faint, overgrown path for about 5 minutes. Then they saw it, a small wooden cabin with a stone chimney. It was old, the wood gray with weather, and the front door was painted a faded, peeling blue. Lily stopped walking. Her breath caught in her throat. "That's it," she whispered. "The blue door." It looked both familiar and strange, a real thing from a song. "Stay behind me, just in case," Arthur said quietly. He walked up the 2 wooden steps to the small porch. He tried the handle. It was locked. He looked at the windows, but they were dusty and dark inside. "We can't break in," Maureen said, her voice worried. "We don't have to," Ben said. He was looking at the doorframe. "Look." He pointed to the top of the door. A small, flat rock was sitting on the frame. He reached up and moved it. Underneath was a single, tarnished silver key. "She said it was a safe place," Lily said, remembering the song. "A secret to keep." Arthur took the key. It turned in the lock with a loud click. He pushed the blue door open. The inside was one main room. It was dusty and smelled of old wood and damp. There was a simple wooden table, 2 chairs, a small bed frame with no mattress, and a stone fireplace. Cobwebs hung in the corners. It looked like no one had been there for many, many years. "We should look around," Ben said. "But for what? A clue could be anything." Lily walked into the middle of the room. She felt a strange sense of calm. She looked at the fireplace. Her mother had loved fires. She could almost hear the echo of the lullaby. She walked toward the hearth. "She used to tap her foot right here when she sang," Lily said softly, more to herself than the others. She looked down at the wide wooden floorboards in front of the fireplace. One board looked a little different. The wood was slightly darker, and the gap around it was a hair wider. Lily knelt down. She dug her fingers into the gap. The board moved. It wasn't nailed down. "Arthur," she said, her voice trembling now. He was beside her in a second. He got his own fingers into the gap and lifted the board completely up. Beneath it, in the space between the floor joists, was a small metal box. It was about the size of a book, and it was rusty. Lily reached in and pulled it out. It was light. She held it in her lap. Everyone gathered around, kneeling on the dusty floor. There was a simple latch. It wasn't locked. Lily took a deep breath and opened it. Inside, wrapped in a piece of soft, faded cloth, was a book. A journal. The cover was dark green leather, and the pages were edged in gold. Lily lifted it out. On the first page, in flowing handwriting, was a name, *Sarah. Asterisk. Lily's hands began to shake. She traced the letters with her finger. "It's hers," she breathed. "It's my mom's." She hugged the journal to her chest, closing her eyes tight. For the first time in 3 years, she was holding something her mother had held, something her mother had written. It was more real than a photograph. It was a voice, waiting to be heard. "We found it," Ben said, his own voice full of wonder. The blue door was real. Arthur put a hand on Lily's shoulder. "Are you okay?" Lily nodded, tears finally spilling down her cheeks. But they weren't just sad tears. They were tears of finding something she thought was lost forever. She had a piece of her mother again, and it was full of words. Back in the warm clutter of Aunt Maureen's apartment, they gathered around the kitchen table. The green journal lay in front of Lily. She touched the cover again, then carefully opened it. The first page had a date, October 5th, 2003. "Do you want me to read it?" Ben asked gently. Lily shook her head. "No, I want to." Her voice was small but firm. She took a deep breath and began to read her mother's words aloud. October 5th. I've been in my new apartment for 2 weeks. It is small and the faucet drips, but it is mine. I got a job at the pharmacy. The other women are kind. They do not ask about my past. I miss the trees. I will find some wood soon. Lily turned a few pages. Her mother wrote about work, about saving money, about learning to cook. Then, an entry from 2005. March 12th. I met a man named Leo today. He plays guitar in the park. He has a kind laugh. We talked for an hour. He asked about my favorite song. I did not tell him it is a lullaby about a blue door. A few entries later. June 18th, 2006. I am pregnant. Leo is gone. He said he was not ready. I am scared, but I am also happy. This baby will be my family. I will name her Lily. Maureen put a hand over her mouth, tears in her eyes. Lily kept reading, her voice growing stronger as she followed her mother's life, her birth, their small joys, picnics in the park, saving for a used car. Then the tone of the entries changed. The writing became shakier. January 10th, 2019. The cough will not go away. The doctor at the clinic says it is serious. I need to see a specialist. The medicine is very expensive. April 4th. I sold the ring today, the real one, the diamond from my mother. I got enough money to pay for the treatments for 6 months. It was just a thing. But first, I had a copy made, a cubic zirconia. It looks just like it. I had a photograph taken of me wearing the copy. I will give it to Lily. She should have the picture at least. Lily stopped reading. She looked at the faces around the table. The ring in my picture, it was fake? She sold the real one to try to get better, Arthur said softly. Lily nodded, a hard lump in her throat, and kept reading. August 20th. I am not getting better. The new medicine is not working. I look in the mirror and see a ghost. Lily is so bright. She cannot see me like this. She cannot watch me fade away. It would break her. I have a plan. Lily's voice began to waver. Eleanor reached over and put a hand on her arm. I will leave. I will tell her I am going on a trip for work. I will go to the cabin, the blue door. It is still ours. I will leave instructions. I have a friend, Maria Rodriguez. She does not know my family. She's a good person. I will give her a key for Lily, a key to a safety deposit box. In that box, I have put something for my girl. Lily turned to the last written page. My dearest Lily, if you are reading this, you found my secret. I am so sorry I left. I thought it was the only way to protect you from the sadness. By the time you read this, I will be gone. But know this, I used the money from the real ring to buy it back for you. It took me years, but I did it. The real ring is in the box. It is yours now. My greatest treasure was never a stone, but you. Find your own shine, my brave girl. All my love. Forever, Mom. For a long moment, no one spoke. The only sound was Maureen's quiet crying. Ben was the first to break the silence. Maria Rodriguez, and a safety deposit box. The key, Lily whispered. She gave a key to her friend. Arthur picked up the journal and looked at the last entry again. She names her friend, Maria Rodriguez, and she says she lives in Pittsburgh, in the Squirrel Hill neighborhood. She wrote an old address. We have to find her, Eleanor said. Her eyes were glistening. We have to find Maria. Lily closed the journal and held it tight against her heart. The words were sad, but they were a gift. Her mother had not abandoned her. She had loved her so much she tried to shield her. And she had left a map that led to a key and a box and a real ring. The journey was not over. They had a name. The name and address from the journal were over 10 years old. Ben spent the morning at the library again, checking current phone listings and online directories. He found a M. Rodriguez still listed at the same apartment building on Beechwood Boulevard in Squirrel Hill. It's the only lead we have, Arthur said. We should go now, together. They drove to the quiet, tree-lined street. The building was older, made of red brick with wide steps leading to the entrance. They found the name Rodriguez next to a buzzer for apartment 3. Arthur pressed the button. They waited. He was about to press it again when a woman's voice, crackly through the speaker, said, "Yes? Who is it?" "Maria Rodriguez," Arthur asked. "My name is Arthur Clark. We are here about an old friend of yours, Sarah Chen." There was a long silence. Then the voice came back, softer. "Sarah, come up, 3rd floor." The apartment was warm and filled with the smell of herbs and cooking. Maria Rodriguez was a woman in her 60s with kind eyes and gray hair pulled into a loose bun. She looked at the group crowded in her hallway, a man in a suit, a prim blonde woman, a younger man, a tired-looking woman, and a teenage girl. "You know Sarah?" Maria asked, her gaze settling on Lily. "This is her daughter, Lily," Ben said gently. Maria's hand flew to her chest. Asterisk Dios mío, Lily, you are all grown up. She opened the door wider. "Come in, please. Sit down." They filed into the small living room. Maria kept looking at Lily. "You have her eyes." "Exactly." "You were her friend?" Lily asked, her voice hopeful. "Yes, a good friend. She worked at the pharmacy near my job. We would have coffee sometimes. She was a private person, but she talked about you all the time. You were her whole world." Maria's smile faded. Then she got sick, and one day she came to me with a very serious face. She gave me a key. "A key?" Eleanor prompted. Maria nodded. She got up and went to an old wooden desk. She opened a small drawer and took out a tiny tarnished key tied to a paper tag with a string. She brought it back and placed it in Lily's hand. She said it was for a safety deposit box at the First National Bank on Murray Avenue. She made me promise to keep it. She said if anything happened to her, or if years passed and a young woman named Lily ever came asking about her, I should give it to her. Maria's eyes filled with tears. I kept it. I waited, but no one came. After a year, I called the pharmacy. They said she had stopped coming to work. I did not know how to find you. I am so sorry. Lily closed her fingers around the key. It was cold and small. Did she say what was in the box? No, Maria said. Only that it was for you. She said it was something real. She was very weak when she gave it to me, but she was determined. She reached out and took Lily's other hand. She loved you so much, asterisk Mia asterisk. It hurt her to leave. But she did not want you to see her suffer. She wanted you to remember her smiling. Lily felt the truth of those words settle deep inside her. The journal had said it, and now her mother's friend was saying it too. Thank you for keeping it, Arthur said. You have no idea what this means. Will you go to the bank now? Maria asked. They all looked at each other. Arthur nodded. Yes, I think we should. Maria walked them to the door. She hugged Lily tightly. Your mother would be so proud of you, finding your way here. Outside, the cold air felt different. Lily held the key so tightly the metal bit into her palm. It was not just a key, it was the last step, the last thing her mother had left for her. The bank is only a few blocks away, Ben said, checking his phone. Are you ready, Lily? Aunt Maureen asked, putting an arm around her shoulders. Lily looked at the key, then at the faces of the people who had helped her. Arthur, who never gave up. Ben, who asked the right questions. Eleanor, who was trying so hard to fix her mistake. Her aunt, who had always been there. I'm ready, Lily said. They walked to the car, a silent group bound together by a photograph, a lullaby, and now a small, tarnished key. The bank, and whatever was inside the box, was just a short drive away. The First National Bank on Murray Avenue was quiet. A woman at the front desk directed them to a man named Mr. Harris, the manager of the safe deposit boxes. Arthur explained they had a key and the box number from the tag. Mr. Harris asked for identification. Lily had none, but Aunt Maureen had her birth certificate and her own ID. Mr. Harris looked at the name on the account. Sarah Chen, he said. Yes, this box has been in continuous rental for many years. Payments were automatic from a linked account. Follow me, please. He led them to a room with walls of small metal doors. He used a master key and Lily used her small, tarnished key. The box slid out. It was a long, flat metal rectangle. Mr. Harris placed it on a table in a private room. "Take your time," he said, and left them alone. Everyone looked at the box. Lily's hands were shaking. "Do you want me to open it?" Arthur asked softly. "No," Lily said. "I want to open it myself." She lifted the lid. Inside there were two things: a small velvet box, dark blue, and a sealed white envelope with her name on it. Lily, in her mother's handwriting. Lily picked up the velvet box first. She opened it. Nestled inside was a diamond ring. It sparkled even in the plain bank light. It was beautiful. It looked like the ring in the photograph, but somehow more real, more solid. "It's the real one," Eleanor whispered, her professional eye recognizing the quality. "It's genuine." Lily put the ring box down carefully. She picked up the envelope. Her fingers fumbled as she tore it open. Inside was a single sheet of paper. She unfolded it. "Can I read it?" she asked, her voice thick. Everyone nodded. She began to read. "My dearest Lily, if you are holding this, you found your way. You are so brave. I am so proud of you. I need you to understand why I left. I was sick for a long time. The medicine did not work. I did not want your last memories of me to be of a person who was always tired, always coughing, always sad. I wanted you to remember me smiling like in our picture, so I left. I thought it was the kindest thing. I see now it was also the hardest thing. I sold the first ring to try to get better, but I always wanted you to have something real from me, something that lasted. It took me a long time, but I saved, and I bought this ring back. This is the real one. It is for you. My greatest treasure was never a stone, but you. You are my shine. Find your own shine, my brave girl. I love you forever. All my love, Mom." Lily read the last words and then she could not read anymore. She put the letter down on the table and cried. Aunt Maureen hugged her. Arthur put a hand on her shoulder. Ben smiled with tears in his eyes. Eleanor looked at the ring, then at the letter, and she understood what a real treasure was. After a while, Lily's crying slowed. She wiped her eyes and picked up the ring box. "Can you help me put it on?" she asked Eleanor. "You know about jewelry." Eleanor's eyes widened. She took the box with careful hands. "It might be too big for your finger. We can put it on a chain." "That's what I want," Lily said. Eleanor took a simple silver chain from around her own neck. She fastened the ring onto it, then helped put it around Lily's neck. The ring hung just over Lily's heart. It felt warm against her skin. They left the bank. The winter sun was pale but bright. No one spoke for a moment. "What happens now?" Ben asked. Arthur looked at Lily, then at the others. "Now we go home. Lily has her answer. She has her ring. And I have you," Lily said quietly. She looked at Arthur, Ben, Eleanor, and her Aunt Maureen. "You helped me find her." Eleanor blinked back tears. "I am so sorry for how it started, Lily." "I know," Lily said. "It's okay." They got into the car. Lily held the ring in her hand, feeling its shape. Her mother's love was not a mystery anymore. It was a fact, written in a letter, bought back with sacrifice, and waiting in a box for years. It was real, like the diamond. She knew her mother was gone, but she was not lost anymore. Arthur started the car and drove toward home. The journey was over, but something new had begun. A group of people, brought together by a mistake and a photograph, had become a family. They were not perfect, they were just there, and for Lily, that was enough.